Alrighty, welcome to episode 196 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla's highly anticipated Q3 earnings call will be held at 5:30 a.m. on Thursday the 24th of October, Perth time. Western Australia's WAEV network has reached a significant milestone with the completion of Synergy's final site. The 150 kilowatt Kempower fast DC charger at Northam is now commissioned and open to all EVs to use. At this stage, there is no known completion time for the remaining Horizon Power sites. The long-awaited Tesla Osborne Park grand opening is being held this Saturday, 26th of October, between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. This public event promises to be a great celebration of Tesla's ongoing commitment to Western Australian Tesla owners. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome to the program. And as is customary, if there is anyone who is new, please do unmute, and if you're comfortable in doing so, say hello and introduce yourself. Or perhaps maybe later in the program. Alrighty, so we've had a lot going on. Unfortunately, this is it's been 2 weeks since the last recorded Ask Us Anything. And obviously in that time, we've had a few mind-blowing things happen, which I could have put in the news, but it's pretty much old news these days. Anyway, is there anyone who would like to kick off the discussions? And I'm going to go straight to Shane and Sarah. Shane and Sarah, where are you? Where the bloody hell are you? You're muted. That's what you are. But where are you?
We're in Cradle Mountain in
We're in the
Tasmania.
future.
3 hours in front. That's why we look a bit weary.
That's right. You've already had 3 hours of drinking ahead of all the rest of us. So half your
How
luck.
did you know us so well?
What makes you think that we're drinking? I've got a coffee, Harold, a coffee.
Right, of course. Yes, 2 coffees. Is it nice and cool? It looks pretty. You've got a fire there behind you, so it looks pretty chilly. So is that not mulled wine, perhaps?
Yes, got it in one.
Yes. Funny that. And I see Chuck rather jealously looking at that mulled wine, also coming to us from the future, and ever so slightly south of you, Shane and
Hi,
Sarah.
Chuck. There he is. Let's go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's probably just as cold where I am, but it's a lot less pleasant because it's just a normal house rather than a mountain resort. So that's okay.
It's a caravan park, but
Oh
still
well,
fire.
that counts. That counts.
I got to keep the fire going myself. I mean, come on.
I
Exactly.
saw your check-in at Waratah, I think it was today, and I thought, they made
Know
it.
where we're going. Yeah.
Yes, I knew you were hitting the West Coast first. Then
We actually didn't need to charge there. We knew it was a backup option.
Yeah.
It was a
And
nice
so
town.
we
Nice
navigated
little
to it, and then man, that pub is very cool. And
The-
there's a waterfall and a water wheel, and
place. Lots
it's
of history there.
that's cool.
I know this will sound really sad, and I know Harold will laugh because it's happened to a few other locations in Tassie. But no, I've never been to Waratah in my life. I've lived here 46 years. Have never been there.
Oh
Chuck, I
man,
saw you put up
it's
a
probably
map.
closer to your house than my house is to Harold's.
Chuck, I saw you put up a map of where you've been in the last few years in your Tesla, and it's like,
Yes.
really?
Yeah, I know.
Dearie me.
You
So
do have
obviously
some
we,
very nice roads to drive on, though. Very, very fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
yes, especially with those unreal speed limits of 110 that you just couldn't possibly do around
Well,
every
you could, but
bend.
not with the
And
caravan.
not with the potholes. So many potholes today. Oh my God.
That's right. And
Indeed.
and have you enjoyed the new 4-stall Kempower site at Crater Mountain, or didn't you need it?
No,
Not
I
yet.
don't. And you know what? I don't think
we'll
we
need
can. I think we're full.
Oh, geez, that's all right then.
It's a caravan park, so oops. Oh,
Oh, what's Harold doing?
Yeah, there we go.
That's the one.
Is that the visitor centre just around the corner?
No, that is at Crater Mountain Hotel or Lodge. I forget which one.
Okay,
Hotel,
yeah,
I think it is.
that's just next door the other way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, I don't think we need to. We left Devonport, went to Sisters Beach. So
Yep.
yeah, so there's Devonport. We didn't charge in Devonport because we'd topped up in Geelong
With
with
some
Yep.
friends.
I think Harold's got some photos to share about that shortly.
Oh, yes,
Um,
that's right. Saw those photos.
Yeah, then we went to Burnie. We didn't charge in Burnie. Well, actually, no, we went somewhere else before that. We went to Ulverston first. We went to Ulverston, had lunch, drove through Penguin, had
Yep.
a bit of a geezer at Penguin.
Yep.
Went to Burnie.
Their Sisters Beach up there.
A bit
Yeah.
further up. Yeah.
Yeah, went to Burnie, saw a mate there who's making underground electric trucks
Oh,
and the like. Went to stay at my mate's place in Sisters Beach. So we just plugged into 10 amps overnight because that's literally all we needed after that short journey. We were well and truly full, both the caravan and the car by the morning. Today we tootled on towards, we plugged in Waratah as our first charge stop, and we went the back way. We went through the dirt roads in the trees.
oh, geez, you're going.
Oh man, it
It
was
was
so
lovely.
worth it. It was brilliant. Yeah, oh, there we go. That's us.
There you
That's
go.
us earlier on this afternoon. There's actually two charges there. There's four technically. There's a Chatamo and a CCS2
Yep.
in that location. There's also what is it? An
Just
EV type 2 to type 2 jobby.
Oh,
Oh,
like
yes,
a
EO. It's that little
EO.
thing. It's EO.
Yeah, it's
Right
the
there.
AC one that you can just see where Harold's swirling his mouse.
Yep.
And around the back side of the pub, there's a Tesla Desto.
That's pretty cool.
So we actually found the Desto first, and we were like, hang on, this is supposed to be a DC. But shit, I didn't. There's not even a photo of it. I should have took a
I
photo.
should have taken a photo anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that was actually there's probably more than one. If you change the filters, Harold, I think it's a separate pin.
It should be a separate point, yeah. But when
Yeah,
we navigated,
especially
the interesting
to
thing was when we navigated to the DC, it actually took us to the AC. Yeah, so
yeah.
no, that's not it.
Just
That's
scroll down a
the
bit.
DC.
There we go.
That's the DC. It's still the
That one.
DC. No,
that one.
that's the other.
This one.
There we go. That's the Desto. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I suspect everyone just checks in and puts their photos on the wrong one. It's always the problem when there's, two right next to one another.
Yeah.
Do that. Who
Yeah,
would put
exactly.
a photo on the wrong post on PlugShare? I mean, really,
Who would do that? Who would do it wrong by 200K?
who would do it wrong when it's DC and they're not
Oh, Shane and Sarah, Rob Dean rang me frantically going, oh, no, because you'd put
I know.
the photo of the Kempower,
I know.
Northman.
where it was. Oh, it's Baladonia.
Northman ended up in Baladonia.
Baladonia.
The
I had the
Norseman,
wrong page open.
yeah, the Norseman Kempower, you put that on the Baladonia
I was
pin.
tired.
Yeah, but you've done that last time too on your other trip.
Didn't. That's the first
Did.
offence.
No, it's not. It's your second offence.
I'm not posting
know.
any more photos. Wrapped over the knuckles officially.
You're right, and recorded too.
Witness.
Yeah,
That's
so the curious thing about these Tasmanian roads is there's a whole pile of up and down, but because they're so slow, you actually don't use very much juice. So we rolled into Waratah on like 50 something percent, which would actually put our range well into the 200s.
But you've only done 40 k's or something because
No, we've done 100. We've done 100 and something to get to Waratah,
Oh, okay.
and on gravel roads.
Not all of it. But
Not maybe 40 or 50 k's of gravel road, but and all up and down and round and windy, and it was all good fun,
but not fast.
but not fast. We were doing maybe 60 odd, for the majority of it, I reckon. 60, maybe 70. Yeah.
50.
Might even be 50. Yeah. Yeah. There was parts where we could go quite fast, but most of it was quite slow.
Yeah,
And
you'll find there's lots of signs saying saying 100 k's an hour if conditions allow, or I forget the exact wording.
conditions variable, I think it says.
Staticus, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
changing conditions. Sorry, it says
Changing road
changing
conditions. That's right.
Yeah.
So there are lots of those ones which are marked at 100, but you obviously don't go anywhere near 100.
Yeah.
Then there's the main highway between Burnie, Devonport, Launceston, Hobart, which is the boring way, the less windy way, and that's 110, and you can just go 110 the whole way. Just put your cruise control
Yeah.
on, and
Yeah. And the same thing between Burnie and Wynyard.
yeah, it probably goes up that way a little bit further.
Yeah.
It gradually
And Wynyard-
gets a little bit slower as you go more towards the northwest, but yeah.
Yeah.
And notice how Wynyard is actually housing Burnie's airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is literally Burnie Airport in Wynyard.
Yeah.
Go
If you go back the other way to Devonport,
It's not our end. Oh, there we go.
I'm here pointing to my screen, not working. Devonport's airport is a bit to the east, Devonport Airport up there.
Oh yes, there it is.
I think the idea is that it accommodates all the little towns around the northwest.
Yep.
Because it's a very, I mean, Tasmania's population is very decentralized,
Mhm.
as in, more than half the population lives outside the capital. But once you get to the northwest, it's just a row of town after town after town. There's no, apart from Devonport and Burnie, there's no real, bigger ones. So I think they've got the two little airports that are sort of spread out towards the edges to.
Capture everyone.
Having driven through that, I can understand why.
Yeah. It's very
Yeah.
beautiful.
I mean, Burnie's a decent sized town. My mate works for a reasonably large engineering company,
Yep.
and he lives the same distance away from Burnie, as what I live from the CBD of Perth. And yeah, there's no way you would get a coastal property like his
Oh yeah.
for the same kind of money, just not even close.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's why places like Table Cape, Wynyard.
Yeah, we took the long way around to his place from Burnie. We
Yeah.
went to Table Cape, yeah.
Yep, all very popular.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Chuck, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
We're arriving obviously on Devonport overnight.
Yep.
And we're looking about going through the central tableland through Ooze. I think there's a charger there to make it a more interesting way. Is that a good way, or what would be a good day trip from Devonport to Hobart?
From Devonport, there are two. Well, there's two direct-ish ways. One of
Avoiding
them
the highway, of course.
Yeah. Well, one of them is the highway, which is just basically a straight line, not very exciting. So that's Devonport, via Launceston, Campbelltown, Hobart. The next best day trip route would be to go to Deloraine.
All right.
I'm glad Harold knows where these places are because he can find them. Yeah. So where Deloraine is there, just to the west of that charger.
We're looking at going through more central highlands because we're doing the east coast after the conference.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
we
Deloraine.
Ooze came up as a possible charging place.
Yeah. If you're going from Devonport to Hobart, you can get there on one charge in a rear-wheel drive Model 3. That's easy as anything, like with 30% left kind of thing. So yeah, Devonport, Deloraine, Miena. If you zoom into that big lake in the middle, that's called that's the Great Lake there.
Yep. So that's going that way, much better and much nicer.
Yeah, it's if you come down that way, basically follow the signs from Deloraine to Bothwell. You can see Bothwell's there as well.
Where is it?
But Deloraine, then there's the lake, and then a bit further south than that, there's Bothwell.
Oh, Bothwell.
Yeah. That route is a very scenic and a very well maintained road.
Bothwell. Okay.
We might do that too then.
Yeah. If you're going from the west, then you want to go from Queenstown through Lake St Clair, Bronte Park, Ooze. If you're going from the west, you'd go that way, but if you're coming straight from Devonport, you'd come down through Miena and Bothwell.
Miena and Bothwell. Okay, thanks.
That's it. If you stick with the A5 or the A10, you'll be okay.
I'm halfway through packing the car now. I'm just testing. We're on Starlink right now, just practicing.
Yep.
Getting exciting. It's only a couple of minutes.
That's it. There are a few others. Couple of people from Sydney who are talking on the TMC forums about they're heading down soon. So you'll all run into each other at some point at the charges, I'm sure.
Hopefully metaphorically only.
Oh, that's right.
As we jostle in position.
Yes, that's right. Sarah, are you going towards the west coast up Crow Mountain, or are you coming back to the main highway?
No, we're heading sort of north. What's that? East.
Northeast,
We're going
yep.
Sheffield, Deloraine, like Launceston, and then across to St Helens, and then down the east coast, Bicheno, Port Arthur, down to the very south, and then back up to Hobart.
Yeah, that's cool. If you're going from Launceston to St Helens, if you're going up, if you're going via Scottsdale, that is quite windy and hilly.
Oh, okay, good.
You might like that, or you might not like that.
Okay.
But
no, I think we are planning to go that way.
Okay, it's almost as fast to go.
Oh, is that pub in the paddock? Pip, whatever that name of that place is called, Pirrington, part of the.
Yeah, that's up there, Pine Garner.
That's the one, Pine Garner. Yes, so we're going.
That's just where the cursor. Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Harold's good at finding these places pretty quickly.
Yes, you are good at that. So that's
I'm just reading off locations, and he's right there.
So yeah, but that's an overnight, which hopefully has a PowerPoint anyway, so we can go home.
Okay. Not sure what they have up there.
Nor me.
It's also close over here. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that's right. You're going past a lot of places which have chargers, so that's okay. The Scottsdale one, that's actually where our last club event was. Where the Scottsdale DC charger is. That one has had issues where it's been slow, like 20-25 kilowatts. There's some load management on there. I think the site's changed function, so it's not charging that fast there. But and might have fun parking the van there as well. But there are a few pictures that might sort of give it away.
Photos for us, Harold. That'll help us out.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, we might.
I guess around.
Yeah, so if you go look at the other photos, you'll see what the rest of the site's like. It's kind of it's kind of a driveway. Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, just a general note for the audience that's watching on YouTube in the future. When you add photos to PlugShare, good wide photos are really handy, like the one like that one.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah, that sort of photo is really good, especially if it's a different angle to what someone else has already taken. It's and even from the other side of the road or away, because as you're approaching, if you're not sure where it is, you've never been there before, it's been able to spy a landmark.
That's really good, opposite a churchy thing.
Yeah, like that.
Building in the back.
Sorry, you just killed it now. Yeah, like that one, where you can see that it's opposite the church.
Yeah.
You're driving down the road, you're going to spy the church before you spy the charger.
Yeah.
That's really handy.
What I found really handy are the Harold's flyovers, his drone flyovers at all the charging spots. So you can't put them on PlugShare.
100%, yeah.
Because you can really see where they are. Especially tough.
Well done, Harold. Thank you.
Alrighty, so
Leave the photography.
apart from this very closed group of a few of us that are going to Tassie and all that sort of stuff,
I was going to say I'm fine to keep on talking about it. You probably want to get back to WA focused things now.
Or more Tesla focused things. So, what should I say? Just general Tesla stuff. So, especially if there's anyone who is new, and you've got any burning questions about your car or road tripping or whatever, please ask away. Otherwise, we're more than happy to keep talking about our little adventures. But yeah, please pipe up and ask a question. And if you prefer to, you can also do it in chat as well.
We did. It was about to be nice out already.
Otherwise, we'll just keep boxing on with various things we've seen along the way. So
If
yeah,
you-
any
if you-
questions?
If you're
Do you
coming
want
over,
do you want Dorothy Dix or Harold?
Yeah,
just
go on.
coming
Go
over
on,
on a ferry,
Shane.
don't forget to turn the alarm thingy off.
Oh yes, actually, yeah, yeah.
It's a reminder.
There's a okay, this is a good tip if you're going on a ferry. Most people like me never ever turn off their car alarm. But you get on a ferry, and one of the first things you got to do is turn off your car alarm. And when you go, how do you turn off your car alarm?
Okay, so what you'll notice is
a video to do that.
yeah, when you go to security, you'll notice that it's actually grayed out.
Yes, and on.
You can't turn it off unless you turn off sentry mode.
So the tip is turn off. Go to your press the little car button. Go to security. At the top of, have you got a screen that you're pulling up for us? Are you, Harold?
Yeah, I am. I'll see if this works live. This is always a risk. Why did it do that? Hang on a second.
Yep. So you click on the little car. You go to safety, I think, maybe.
Sentry mode.
Yeah,
so you
that's the one.
Sentry
You
mode
have
off.
to switch that to off first. You may not have that set, but if you don't switch that to off, then down at the bottom of that page,
I don't have the bottom, unfortunately.
on the bottom of that page is the car alarm. But you have to, but it's on and grayed out. You have to turn it off first. And it took me a while because I was a bit excited, we're going on a ferry, it's a new experience and all the rest of it.
And don't forget to take a photo of the stairwell you go up, because
yes.
it's really hard to find your car otherwise afterwards.
Especially after you've had a couple of drinks overnight. That's
No,
right.
we don't do that kind of thing, Harold.
I don't drink, Harold. I only drink coffee.
Yes, that's right.
Were you on deck 5
coffee.
by any chance?
True, we were deck 5, yeah.
That's the EV sticker coming into play, I think.
Yeah, we've got the EV sticker on the car. It was quite weird because we were in the no, they lined us all up in a whole stack of lanes.
Yep.
And we obviously had an EV sticker, and we were lined up with all the other people with caravans. And I think that confused them a bit because they let everyone go, and then the guy with the little moving orange post, when we got there, he stuck that in front of us and stopped us going. But I reckon most of those caravans that were next to us had a lithium battery pack in there that was probably installed by Dad, who had half a clue of what he was doing and doesn't have a proper BMS and all the rest of it. It's way more dangerous than anything that's in my car. Let's not even talk about my caravan. Yeah, but somehow we get special treatment. Whatever.
Did you get packed next to the dogs near the
No, we were next to a whole bunch of very expensive motorbikes.
But we did get quarantined for the amount of bugs on our front.
Yes, we were quarantined for our bugs. Yeah.
Really?
That's funny.
Really?
They inspected them in Devonport, but we said we didn't think they'd be breeding anytime soon, so they let us go.
Yes, on account to the last thing that went through their mind was their rear ends. Yeah, that's right.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But she walked around the front, took one look, and went, "Oh my God." That's when you know you've driven a long way, I guess.
I think that means I'm probably going to have problems too because
might need a high pressure hose, I think.
Yeah, yours was pretty similar to ours.
I can see your bugs from your drone shots.
Yeah.
Dearie me.
Yeah.
Have you got a photo of all three, Harold?
Yes. No, I don't. I've got a video of all three, so that will have to do.
That'll work.
Let's have a look if we can spool this up.
So we had three cars from WA, all towing caravans, and all made it to Geelong at about the same time. couple of them had a head start on us, and we were in the middle at 20 minutes behind Harold.
Yeah, actually, incidentally, I beat Shane and Sarah to Geelong by 20 minutes, but they did give me a 6-day head start.
He took the long way though, so you know, we're gonna hold it against
We're
him.
not gonna split hairs with that one.
So strangely, all of those cars are owned by Sandgropers.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That's very cool. All WA
That's-
plate.
And basically, that's the first car and caravan to ever go around Australia. That's the second and third, and this will be the fourth car and caravan to ever go around Australia.
All in Geelong together.
All in Geelong together.
I reckon the fourth will have seen a fair bit more than the rest of us, but that's okay.
Is the Kia coming to Tassie? Do you know?
No, unfortunately not. No, they're going to go up the middle instead. There's a possibility we'll meet them at Port Augusta on the way back.
Right. Yeah.
Possibility.
Which incidentally means you'll be able to use the Border Town supercharger.
And the
And
northern
if we're
one.
really lucky,
And the northern one. The northern one. The one that's
and
closest to
the
home.
and the Port Augusta supercharger, hopefully, and the Northern
Yeah.
Fast DC.
Yeah, we're very
Which
much
is
looking
good.
forward to having the one just outside of
Because,
home where we can
yeah,
just not have to meter into
otherwise
home.
we're
That'd
at
be
zero,
nice.
and that's not so much fun.
And in the case of the EV9, they'll be able to use the Stall supercharger, which is just open to all EVs yesterday. So
Which one's that?
Oh,
it's a 12 stall supercharger in Stall near Horsham.
it's a great spot too because you've got two parallel rows of supercharger stalls in like this dedicated parking area, which is really awesome. So if you've got a caravan, you can just slide across half a dozen stalls or 3 stalls. It doesn't matter because there's plenty of others to
We
spare.
were very happy with one in Geelong too, weren't we? Weren't we, Harold? Because that was also a drive-through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I might just-
quite intelligently arranged because they were taking up, what was it, eight parking bays, but it was you could either charge like 7 or 8 cars, or you could drive through, and yes, your caravan would block a supercharger, but you could still do it without blocking 3 or 4. You'd block 1, not 4, sort of thing.
Yeah, so you basically you can go back. It's designed to go back to back. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But
Yeah.
I went on the outside, so took this one. So even though we've got 3 cars, there was still 1, 2, 3. Actually, there were still 3 bays available. So all 3 were still available, even though there were 3 cars occupying it with caravans.
Yeah, I mean, while we were there were you see the blue car there. While we were there were what 3, maybe 4 other cars
came and
pulled
went.
in, came and went.
Yeah, and that's actually a great layout. And unlike Lanceland, it's a little bit wider, so we had no issues pulling caravans through.
Yeah,
Parking properly.
it was nice.
So well done, Tesla, on that Geelong site. Please do lots more like it.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Kojonup was really good too. You could definitely do way more like Kojonup. That Kojonup is still the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you don't want is stuff like there's quite a few ones where you've got to do a bit of Tetrising. Just trying. Oh, here we go. So this is what is this? What day was it? Oh, Coffs Harbour. This is Coffs Harbour, and you basically got to sort of thread over a.
Yeah.
Like I'd actually drive over the bump stops with the front tires and then stretch, just to fit in, which is okay because this was early in the morning. But when it's got other cars, it's just not ideal.
I'm surprised you didn't go to the big banana one where there's heaps of space.
Yeah, right up the top.
It was temporarily closed. No, it was actually closed.
Oh,
So yeah, I would have absolutely gone up to the what do you call it, the sled
yeah.
at the top. Yeah, that was my preference, but you had the little grey pin and said it was closed or
Ah.
And there's
unavailable.
no
So
toilet nearby that one, which is a pain.
Well, there
Oh,
is,
yeah.
but you got to walk all the
Well,
way
if
down the
you're
hill.
female, I might just say.
You got to walk all the way down the hill and all the way up the hill again to get to the dome. Yeah.
yeah,
Not the most
absolutely.
convenient.
Apparently, there's a rumor that they're going to build a new 16 stall or something like that at the bottom of the hill at Big Banana.
That would be very
Oh, very good.
Mm.
Very
So-
good. I mean, it's actually quite heartening to see Tesla building so many sites. I'll just bring up, unfortunately, because on PlugShare you can no longer just filter for Tesla anymore, which is a bit of a shame, just to show superchargers. But the Mackay supercharger should be opening fairly soon, I think, because there's photos, I think it was on TMC, indicating it was pretty close. Well, it was all installed, just had to be commissioned by the look of it, which is very cool. I'll just bring up the supercharger map, because unfortunately, as I expected, the Queensland Electric Superhighway, the old Tritium RTs, they're just on their last legs and unreliable and not really working. So yeah, so you're going to have, there are superchargers planned at Cairns, what's that? If that comes up, Tully, Townsville, Bowen's done. Mackay is very close. It's installed. What's that?
Yeah, next down, right.
Oh, St. Lawrence, thank God. And Rockhampton. What was Gladstone Central?
That's
Oh,
Calliope.
sorry. Oh, that's Calliope. Yeah, that's a great one. Bundaberg less so because it's off the highway. It's off the Bruce Highway. So it's a bit of a diversion. But then again, it's much better
It's
than
not
using-
really a diversion, Harold.
There's an entire rum factory there.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, but been there, done that, you know. Oh, and Maryborough, that would, oh man, that would be so good. That
Yeah,
would
actually, Maryborough, yeah, would be good. Yeah,
because that was another one that wasn't working. And then you've got Gympie, and then after that it's all milk and honey, all the way through to, well, even Port
Almost
Augusta.
Port Augusta. Yeah.
Port Augusta, even.
Yep. So that's going to be great. Unfortunately, you're still going to do Clare if you want to stick to the supercharger ecosystem, but I'm sure Tesla will do something about that.
Yeah, but you're only showing superchargers there, Harold. That northern route through Victoria, Victoria and South Australia. Well, we just did that, and we didn't plan anything. We even hit a charger that was broken, and we're towing a caravan, so we got to hit every. Well, in WA, we've got to hit every charger. Over here, we can skip a charger with the caravan, which means someone with a normal car without a caravan can skip 2 or 3 charges.
Yep.
So we went. We went to there. Yeah, so if you zoom in a little bit there, I think you're missing some charges. Yeah, about there should be one pop up.
There's 3 in Mildura.
Yeah. And one of them is a 250 kilowatt job. And then back up the road at Renmark, there's a few options as well. Other way.
Yeah, there's 3.
Yeah. And Renmark to Mildura, I mean, that's the issue with these sorts of maps where you can zoom in and out. Renmark to Mildura is a hop and a skip and a jump.
90.
Yeah, 100, something like that. It wasn't very far. And then down to Ewan, which is another 100 Ks. And they're just so close together.
So if you contrast that with...
Well, if you're going to add in 2s and 3-phase, there's fucking thousands of them. Sorry.
Yep.
Pardon.
So if you contrast that with Carnarvon to Nunyatara, that's 371 kilometres.
Yeah.
And when you go to the, let's have a look if that works.
Yeah.
This is
you get the red.
the WAV network.
The issue there, the real issue there is those checking comments, like the browsing the comments thing.
Well, if you just browse, well, this one's,
That's
with all
the
due
issue.
respect to Sleeper Service, didn't try type 2. It's like, that's because that's the only thing that was supposed to be working. If you read this comment, DC charger offline, type 2 AC backup online, but stops charging as soon as a charging session begins. So
That's not good.
that was the most nightmarish leg of my travel to Geelong. And that was the fact that I was assured by two different organisations that the JetCharge constructed ChargeMate Type 2 AC charger, not only was it online on the ChargeFox app, but it was determined as being working and guaranteed as being working. It was online and therefore functional. Thankfully, I've had enough PTSD on the WAV network, and it really pains me to say this, but I've had enough PTSD of being let down enough times that I had a strategy to make it unassisted from Carnarvon to Naniatara. And I left at 3 a.m. and went slowly. And I had to achieve a rough elapsed efficiency towing the caravan of about 250 watt hours per kilometre. And that sounds like a lot, but it's not. So early on in the piece, there was a semi-trailer that overtook me, and I thought, I was so tempted to go, oh, look, I know the Type 2 is working. Two different organisations have told me it's working, including Horizon Power. And maybe I'll just, follow behind the truck. I'll burn a bit more juice than I expect, but I'll save a lot of time. And I sort of said to myself, no, if it costs me an extra 20 minutes and I end up charging on the AC, that's fine. It's okay. It'll be worth it. So get there. Everything's lit up like a Christmas tree, which is fantastic. I knew that the Tritium would be tagged off because they're doing a few extra tests. And I plugged into the Type 2 and it initiated a charging session and then went straight to paused. And you can imagine that I just went, oh man, this is as bad as it gets. Had to dump the entire contents of the caravan battery into the car. I took the caravan battery down to 4% because I knew at 3% the BMS would basically shut down. And I didn't want to have to black start the caravan. I didn't risk black starting it. Dumped it all in, got nowhere near full. It was like, I can't remember now, it was less than 80% to make another 200 and something Ks to Naniatara. So and I hate doing this, but I now have a new personal best as an unassisted caravan journey leg of 371 Ks. Mind you, that's not something I ever wanted to or ever want to repeat, because these chargers just have to be working. And if they're online, they have to work. They can't just be online and give people that false impression that they're working. And unfortunately, of those JetCharge manufactured ChargeMate chargers during the trip, I later found out that more than 10 of them at that same time were all not working. And that's just not acceptable, because those chargers are the basic bare bones emergency backups. Just in case the DC doesn't work, it means you won't get stranded. And since I'm on a roll, I might just give an honourable mention to the Ngumban Cliff Rest area, which is an awesome location. You just can't beat it. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's a rest area for lots of grey nomads. There's actually toilet facilities and picnic facilities up on the hill. And this amazing site is just there. And, it's just a fantastic site, solar powered, battery backed diesel generator, just in case. So I actually used it a few days ago,
I think that's about where we stopped with the caravan and charged just off of what we brought with us.
Yep. And, you know, the DC charger working perfectly on FreeVend in spite of it appearing offline on ChargeFox. AC charger also works.
Actually, when we got to Nullarbor this trip, Nullarbor was FreeVend as well.
Oh yeah, that always is. So then this guy Benny, now Benny rang me the next day saying, and he's in an MG4 with a friend of his, and it was, you know, 42 degrees in the shade, and he goes, none of this is working, like none of it. And I go, well, it worked for me yesterday. So, and he was on a crappy SIM card on his phone. It was a discounted Telstra service via Belong, sorry, which doesn't really belong in the bush, but that's another story. But he managed to get through to me, and then I rang 2 different organisations to try and get some help, both of whom were busy at that immediate time, but eventually rang back, and we eventually got some help for Ben. But I mean, that actually required external, you know, phone a friend sort of assistance for a site that should just be working every day. There's no reason for it not. If it works on one day, it's got to work the next day, because if it doesn't, eventually it's going to kill someone. Because eventually, like that, in fact, in that Ngumban cliff rest area, there is literally nothing there. And if you don't have,
you got 150 k's of bugger all in both directions.
That's right. And if you're panicking, and you know, imagine if you've got someone who's having a medical episode or something, and you start panicking, and you do something silly like
make a bad call,
decide to walk or try and get help or do something, then very bad things can happen. So it doesn't just make your trip miserable, it could actually make it downright dangerous. And it literally isn't good enough in the year 2024 for these sort of things to be subject to dodgy servers, dodgy, you know, subsystems, dodgy hardware, dodgy software, dodgy providers that are, you know, earning money out of various networks. And I'm not talking about ChargeFox here, that are affecting the long-term viability of critical infrastructure. And it's literally just not good enough. And I got to tell you, I'm getting pretty frustrated because, you know, I'm on my 7th lap. And in some respects, some of my earlier laps were actually better than my latest ones. And in fact, in the last few laps, I've come across increasing number of charges that worked the lap before, but don't work this lap. You know, and that's just not good enough. And yeah, we know the RTs, the old Tritium RTs, that they're at end of life. You know, so I accept that the one at, you know, Maryborough doesn't work, but you know, I don't accept the one at Gin doesn't work because of a micro switch which costs 50 cents, which everyone knows that's the issue. And then people like ChargeFox will put snide comments such as, we're aware that one of the nozzles hasn't been reholstered properly. Please ensure it's holstered. It's like, it's holstered, but the micro switch in the flap in the holster is broken and it just needs replacing. So please, ChargeFox, don't come out with smart aleck comments such as, please reholster better, because we all know, and you ought to know, that's not the issue. And, you know, the Queensland government, the West Australian government, even the South Australian government, the NRMA, all of these organisations, the RACV and all the others need to get their stuff together, and you cannot just install a charger like planting a flag, declaring victory and walking away. If you don't maintain them, please just remove them. If you're not going to put in that budget and put in that effort to maintain these chargers, it'll be a lot kinder to the EV community if you just did the right thing and remove them. And I know that sounds quite extreme, but that's actually a fact, because there's nothing more damaging than being in the middle of nowhere, relying on a charger and being let down, because it really destroys your EV owning experience.
Well,
And it
especially
feeds
new
the trolls and it feeds the diesel and petrol advocates to say, see, we told you so. You can't drive these cars out here. And that's a devastating thing to happen, and it's something that doesn't need to happen.
And it's not true, because I tell you what, people will run their fridge to keep their beer cold before they'll pump diesel.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. You know, there are more places in this country that have got electric lights. There's nobody living on candles and kerosene lanterns. I mean, Mum used to read us stories by a kerosene lantern because, you know, running the generator was too expensive. That doesn't happen anymore. Everybody runs electric power, so there is somewhere to charge your car. We're supposed to be able to charge it fast at these locations. So
exactly. Oh, and now, by the way, the Entombed Port Hedland WAEV network charger at Spoilbank Marina, that is going to be freed on the 29th of November, when the Minister Safiotti is going to do a grand opening of the whole site and finally make that Port Hedland Chempower available to the public to use. A site that, by the way, has been up and running since, I believe, about March this year. So finally that will be released to the public to use. But I think, as Rob Dean said, just in time for the full summer to kick in and for tourist numbers to go down by an order of magnitude. But anyway, better late than never. Alrighty.
Any new questions?
Yeah. Have we got any questions or comments?
I will just note that I put a screenshot in the chat of PlugShare with the superchargers showing. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
I think you might have been filtering by something else.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I didn't realize you could. Oh, you go networks, of course. Sorry, Chuck.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, good call. Yeah, fantastic. And of course, Mackay frustratingly, should be coming soon, as should Bustleton, as should the one before Geraldton, Lehman. Sorry, Greenhead. Sorry, after Lehman. Yep. And there are quite a few others as well that are known about. Oh, and Port Augusta, of course. Port Augusta should be coming soon as well.
Yeah, I don't think you can manually change the network. Oh, hang on. There's a few here that are on. There's some in New South Wales that are showing. I thought the supercharger might have been one of those networks that PlugShare doesn't let you manually set. It has to be imported automatically. And I thought that might have been why Greenhead and so on weren't showing. But I've just noticed that that Narrabri and Parks are showing.
Yep.
So I'm wrong. So never mind. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. And hopefully you'll get the Hobart one. I mean, I know Tom Drew which is Tesla's head in Australia. He replied to a LinkedIn question or something?
LinkedIn post. Yeah.
A links post that indeed the removal of the pin in Hobart was an error.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what he's stating it was, and he decided that it was an error and it ought to be replaced.
That's right.
Which is a good move.
Yeah, and then when they put it back, they gave it a more precise name, and since then a more precise location.
Oh, fantastic!
It is the location which was leaked a few years ago. Yeah.
Oh yes, and the supercharger leak scandal. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's
and look, and to be honest, to Tesla, please, Elon, if you're listening, there's nothing wrong with telling us where you're going to put stuff, because it literally gets people excited, and those that don't have Teslas more inclined to actually buy one.
Yeah.
Because they can see there's going to be progress happening, and that's notwithstanding the farce that became the mythical Perth supercharger that was promised in 2017 and 18 and 19. I think, and 20. But, notwithstanding that, we now know that you are accelerating your progress. And in fact, to that end, I don't have it's going to take too long to bring up the photo, but Kings Park has had an incremental bit of progress in that there is a conduit now erupted out of the ground where the DC box is going to go. So that's a positive development. And hopefully that supercharger will be installed at Kings Park before Christmas.
Yep.
Which will be a good thing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Any other general questions or comments, even particularly about the Tesla, or, did you know anything about, certain things, certain quirks?
Harold, if I may.
Yes, Jared.
Yeah, just an experience I had the other week. I usually park my car at the airport, as per usual, throw its blanket over it and leave it for a week with everything pretty much switched off. Quite literally a week later, on my fly out day, I get a little message telling me I've only got 40 kilometers left of range, which is about 5%. So I'm like, oh, fair enough. I thought, must be an error. Anyway, I go into the app because it's all shut down. And lo and behold, 40 kilometers. That's all I got. So I thought, well, that's fine. I can get somewhere with that. It's not the end of the world. So I thought, well, I don't want to go into the app. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to keep waking the car up. I want to leave it asleep. So I land. I make way to the car. I get into the car. It now tells me I've got 25.
Yep.
So, courtesy of Mr. Chapman, very supportive. He even rang me at one point and we kept talking, so I didn't keep looking at the percentage dropping off. I did manage to get to Karrinyup. There was one bay free, plonk, charged up, first time with it, fantastic. Anyway, I then, by the time I got home, I just thought, well, I'll raise the notice to the services. They come back to me very, very quickly. It was excellent. And basically just says, where's the car been? What's been going on? I says, well, I parked it up at this time. This is where it was at. This is what I've done. This is what it's done to me. The short version then, after a few messages where they've done some remote works and that, is what we found was that the car was experiencing an emerging firmware concern where the car was constantly trying to connect to Wi-Fi to download the latest firmware patch and was staying on all the time. We don't expect that to happen again, and there's nothing in the hardware that needs to be fixed.
Right. Yeah. I guess, to be honest, I guess you could take it at face value, and I think the problem is it's difficult to mount an argument that says, well, if it happened once, it's not going to happen again. But perhaps, so it sounds like it was a security, it sounds like the car was told this is an important update.
Possibly, because normally it gets to a certain percentage, then it stops everything.
20% is the normal threshold, yeah.
Yeah, but just kept going and going and going. I'm like, crap. And when I got to be 25, I was like, how am I getting home?
Yeah, I mean, I personally would have been more concerned if it was lower than that, like if it was below 0, because then that's literally getting towards. Sorry, do you have a standard range car or a long range?
The performance.
Oh, performance. Okay, so that's got the NCA chemistry, or NMC. Yeah, that would be very concerning if the car went below 0 Ks. Not so much because you'd be stranded, because you can always get unstranded one way or another, but just because of the consequential damage that could have happened to the battery had it gone below 0 Ks.
Yeah.
Because
it did get to 0 just as I pulled up to the charger.
That's fine. No, that's totally fine. In fact, I mean, I've lost count of how many times in my current trip I've only hit 0 once. And I don't really like hitting 0 because things can happen and you can take time to get charging and all that sort of stuff. But I've hit, I think, 1 0, about 4 1s, about 3 2s, about 4 3s, quite a few 4s, 5s, 6s, 7%, So hitting 1s or 2s or whatever's is not a big deal. It's just that you don't want the car festering at below 0 kilometers, because it can actually go negative, as Shane and Sarah have found out. Shane found out when he arrived at Williams towing a horse float.
I knew that it could go negative, and I just drove accordingly and made sure that I made the next supercharger. Well, it happened to be a supercharger, which was only a couple of kilometres down the road.
That's right. That's right.
Has anyone else in the room gone below 0 and not made? Sarah's out a camera at the moment, but she's busy wetting herself.
Yes, I'm not going to comment on. I've been instructed not to comment on that. So it is. Look, I guess you just got to take their word that this was an unusual event. And what they're saying is there's no hardware that had a problem. Obviously, there was a software glitch that caused the car to incessantly keep trying to talk to the mothership. Look, let's just hope that just doesn't happen again. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that. Normally, the cars do quite effectively stop burning energy once they hit 20%. It turns a lot of the functions of the car off. The car still can be woken up, but that requires active effort on your app to do that. So, look, the only other thing oh no, there was a different incident. There were Teslas being imported. Well, they were being shipped to Australia, and quite a few of them burnt through their 12-volt batteries. But that was that was because their main packs sort of hit 20%, and once they did that, the power control module actually turns off the inverter to charge the 12-volt batteries. These are the lead acid batteries, and they weren't put in the correct transport mode when they were transported, and they burnt hundreds of 12-volt batteries that had to all be replaced because the cars were effectively bricked. But Gerard, I think it probably really is a one-off, very rare event that'll probably never ever happen again. So yeah, try not to let that affect your subsequent experiences with the car.
I mean, in all the time I've had, about 18 months or more now, first issue.
Yep. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's write that off as your first big glitch and probably the last one as well. Yeah. So
you know what? If it happened again, it still would put me off. It would put me off. Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah. And incidentally, so if you are able, so I know in your case you would have put it at the airport, I presume, in the long-term parking.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, in fact, actually, one thing I can do that you can't do. Not that I'm bragging, because I had to go to a lot of effort to make my car be able to do this. But what I've done, and this is what anyone ought to do. Sorry, if I can get my internet to
just while Harold pulls that up, there is an option you can set in your car to allow updates, like early updates, or allow late updates. I can't quite remember what it is. It's in the software area somewhere. When I'm at home, I let it take the early update because it really isn't going to affect me very much. But when I'm away, like now, I don't want to be in some weird place and then this car does a software update that makes something stop working. So I turn it off when we go on a big trip. So at the moment, I'm set on the, let's only take the safe updates. Thank you very much. I don't want the new one. When I'm at home, I switch it back again to, I'll take the latest update. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Perhaps in your case, if you're doing a 2-in-1 or a 1-in-1 or something like that, maybe set it to the wait a while setting on the updates.
Mine normally doesn't update at all unless I tell it to. Because I go into the app and it tells me there's something there, but none of mine is scheduled to run, to upload, or do anything unless I tell it to. Unfortunately, this one just decided all by itself just to run amok.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so my car is currently at the Tullamarine they call it the value parking. It's a long-term parking. But what I'm able to do is basically plug a cons into the caravan and just plug it into the car, which is something that you would do if you're at home. So if you're on holidays, or you're going to leave or on a work shift and your car is at a power source, just plug it in and then just set the slider to wherever you want. And the car will basically just stay at that level, and sporadically over, I think it's about every 4 hours, it'll just top itself up as natural vampire drain. Or I mean, in my case, I've got Sentry mode turned on, so the car's roughly burning approximately 400 watts continually. So then it just tops up every few hours and keeps the battery at a steady state. You know, if you're going away for a long time, you can set it to as low as 50% or 70% or the 80 or whatever you'd like to set it at. But that's something that you should do if you have a power source. But if you don't, you can alleviate the power burn by turning off Sentry mode, because Sentry mode you can lose approximately 6% per 24-hour period, depending.
When it's parked up, I put a cover over it. Like I bought a Tesla cover for it to look after it, because you can't trust other motorists when they park, because they have wing doors. So I cover it all up and then just basically switch Sentry mode and everything off and shut down the app. So and endeavour to burn no juice at all when it's parked there. So to get that message was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'll also show. Actually, if you've got any while I try and spool something up, is there anyone else who's got any other questions or comments? And I've actually, Rob Dean has just, thank you, Rob. He has just said that this is a bit of news, that the Coogee Supercharge is now open to all EVs. So there's a bit of good news.
Nice.
Let's just see if that's on Tesla's map. Because I did actually, when you said that Stawell is open to all EVs, I did actually look at Lancelin, because the club was lobbying Tesla to have Lancelin opened up to all EVs, because it really is a bit of an unusual case where all the other metropolitan sites are open to all EVs, superchargers, except for Eton, which is a version 2, and I think V2s generally aren't open to all EVs. I'll just check to see on the map.
There's a few of them, but not that many.
So Coogee, if it will show up. Oh, it is too. Look at that. Coogee is open to all EVs, which is great, but Lancelin is not. And Eton isn't, but all the other superchargers in WA, with the exception of Karrinyup and Lancelin, they are all open to all EVs, which is pretty cool. Now I'll just so anyone got any other questions or comments, please, at this first hour of the program? Even a Dorothy Dixer will do.
Is there a charger closer to the airport than like Karrinyup?
Not a supercharger, but there are chargers.
And if you got off the plane and you need to get somewhere and get charged, what would be the closest one?
I would say there is an Ampol in, it depends where you're going, but there's an Ampol in Belmont that's got one of them amp charge shops in it.
Yep. I was going to say that's the one that I used last year when I was there.
There's also a 20 kilowatt or a 21 kilowatt ABB at the Kewdale Hotel. And there's also one in Forestdale. sorry, is it Forestdale? Chris Dodd's at CD Dodd. That's a fairly reliable, actually it's, a reliable fast DC charger. With that one though, it's only available during their working hours. So it's all noted on PlugShare. So if you have a look on PlugShare, it will tell you what those hours are. But yeah, Darren, you bring up a sore point of mine. I've put up a post on X showing all the airports, all the international airports, the top 10 international airports closest to Perth, and there's only one other airport without DC chargers, and we don't even have AC chargers. So it's ridiculous. There has been four stenciled bays at the Terminal 1 Ampol service station. I'm pretty sure it's Ampol. It's been there for coming up to 18 months, if not longer. It's definitely been there for over 12 months. And I've gone in there and I've spoken to the people there maybe on 4 or 5 occasions, asking each time what's happening with that. And they basically still have no plans to put in any chargers. So they've stenciled it for EV charging bays, but no plans to put in a charger, which is just ridiculous. And I've told them to remove the stenciling because all they're doing is teaching internal combustion engine drivers that it's perfectly fine to park in a EV stenciled bay. Because why wouldn't you? There's no charger there, so why wouldn't you? But people are creatures of habit, and once there's a charger there, people will continue to park there because they'll take cues from other people, etc. But at the Kewdale Hotel, we've got the opposite problem. There's a 21 kilowatt there. It's got a fairly long lead, a cable, which is good, and there's 3 bays around it. There used to be Tesla destination chargers there, but none of those bays are stenciled. So so that's in the bottom left-hand corner there. That's the ABB that Harold's put up. And as you can see, it's a fairly long cable, but yeah, those bays are not stenciled, not marked as EV-only bays. And I was actually there today during lunchtime, and just very briefly, there was 3 ICE cars parked in there. 2 ICE cars parked in there and one that was sort of going in the bay. And I had to jump out of the car and just say, look, if you could park somewhere else, it would be much appreciated. I'd love to charge. But I had no leg to stand on because there's nothing to say that it's an EV charging bay. Yeah, the Kewdale Tavern, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, so they're the bays there.
Yep.
But they're not marked.
It's a great tavern. Good place to grab a meal. It's fairly close to Terminal 1. But, they had 3, was it 2 or 3 destination charges there? Harold, do you remember?
There are at least 2. It might have been 2. It was 2 or 3, Pete, but I'm not sure exactly.
Actually, I think it was 3 from memory because I remember when we met. Name escapes me now.
John Pierre, perhaps, or there's quite a few people we've met doing laps.
Yeah, and I remember all 3 of us charged, so it must have been 3 destination charges. So we had 3 times 11 kilowatts. We got 1 times 20 kilowatts now, so it's a step down with no stencils, no EV stall markings, which is a little bit disappointing, but grateful that there's still a charger there. It's probably the closest one to the airport as far as time is concerned. So CD Dodd is possibly as far away, maybe even a little bit closer, but because you've got to sort of go around the train track and everything, it takes about 10, 12 minutes to get there.
Yeah, right. Okay, I've got, so as I showed before, I've basically connected a cons to a three-phase charger EVSE to adapter to my car, and then if I plug up, this is the data direct, actually live data from the Victron inverters in the caravan. And
I'm just going to interrupt you, Harold. Sorry, mate. Just going to interrupt and say this is a bit extreme. You don't actually need to do this. This is, this is a cool thing to do. Very cool thing to do.
Yes. But what I'm trying to illustrate, Shane, is that if you plug your car into your house, and this is the simplest way to show it, every few hours, it actually just sips on a bit. It's basically pulling about a kilowatt hour every 4 hours, or actually 6 hours, looks like. About every 6 hours, it's effectively pulling about 1 kilowatt hour, which is just effectively the consumption that it's doing on Sentry mode. So that was a point of showing that display that the car will consume roughly about 4 kilowatt hours or 5 or 6 kilowatt hours in a 24-hour period. So that was the point of showing that. But before I forget, I'll just got to turn off cam.
So that amounts to what's that, about 5%, 10% per day?
Yeah. So, and I've only got 1.2 kilowatts of panels, and Melbourne's had some cloudy weather. So yesterday the caravan was at 72%. Now it's at 67. In fact, you can see it's discharging at 600 watts because that's the camp mode air conditioner. So I've just got to go and turn that off, because frustratingly, the only way you can keep the inverter running or the DC socket running in the back is to put the car in camp mode, which is another very frustrating thing that Tesla has just implemented. So I just got to remember to turn that off. And then once I turn it off, the Starlink goes and I'll lose communications with the inverters. But yes, that's just to illustrate, basically every few hours it just takes a sip of energy, and it will do that at home or anywhere where you're parked and plugged into power. And it doesn't have to be 16 amps three-phase. It can just be a 10 amp UMC, and it'll just draw power for a little while just to top itself back up to your set point, and then maintain that ad infinitum until you return. So if you go to Europe for 3 months, you can just do that with your car. But then, every now and then just give it a quick monitor just to make sure, you haven't tripped a circuit breaker or something like that, so that when you get back, your car will be in a good state of charge. Alrighty. Any other questions?
Yeah, Harold, if no one's got a question, I've got my I've just finished packing. So I've got my car set up here ready for the trip. There's the frunk. So we got a cones here.
Yes.
Cones here, ready to go for the first stop. 15 amp thing, and my Tesla UMC window cleaner. There's a type 2 underneath there. There's type 2s because hopefully we won't need that. But cones and UMC, window washing gear, and a tire inflator. Go to the co-pilot seat. So I'll be traveling with my wife. So she's got the comms to the wired trucks and the notes for where we're charging. In the back, we have a board on the seat, so we don't set off the sensor. The only thing that sits on here is a couple of jackets and a blanket. Fridge for the daily food and the supplies. In the back, thanks to Tesla for the turning off the power. So we've bought ourselves one of those to run, so the Starlink and everything can run all the time. The fridge can run all the time. We're carrying 60 litres of oil for Kaiguna, and that's the bed. So we'll just normally fold the seats down and roll the bed out. The under trunk has the all the fancy clothes for when we get to Tasmania, so we look nice. And all the other clothes just go in one bag on the back here for the travelling clothes.
We don't have very high standards here, by the way. Don't worry about that.
No worries. And the other thing, the bottom boot has all the clothes in, but that little boot, that's got all my tools. It's got towing gear. I've got tow ball on this. So underneath there's all the Tobo, tyre repair, all the main tools in case more if we come across somebody else. So that's it. And lastly, the new one is up the top here is Starlink.
That's a Starlink Mini.
Yep, Starlink Mini.
Very good.
So that's it. We're now ready to go. So this car will be parked in the garage tomorrow, and I'll take that one to work. And this one can wait and sit ready to leave tomorrow. Or Friday morning early.
James.
Friday morning.
Yep.
James, I have a question for you, James.
Yep.
Your Starlink Mini.
Yep.
How are you powering said Starlink Mini from the car?
We bought the USB to Starlink, so that's a proper one, off Amazon. But it's got the waterproof thing on the other end.
Yep.
And originally we purchased somewhere in here, just a high power adapter that can put out, like one of those things you plug in.
Yep.
I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. One of these.
Yep.
And that puts out 100 watts. So that also charges our MacBooks off the normal cigarette lighter. But because Tesla decided to turn it off, we're now running it off one of these. So that's just USB-C plugged into there.
Yep.
And that would be the Starlink on now.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. But normally that would just go into the car. But so that when we stopped, the fridge will run. If we stop for a couple of hours for lunch, the fridge will run and the Starlink can keep running.
So I may have missed it. How are you powering the fridge?
The fridge this is the fridge here.
Yeah.
The fridge just goes into there.
No, sorry. Where's the power for the fridge coming from?
From the EcoFlow.
Yes, so Shane. So what James is showing is the EcoFlow is being powered by the car, just there to your left. But because
this is a Y. Right, yes. Okay, this is a Model Y. Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And because it keeps turning off. In fact, what's so annoying, and well, you won't find this, James, but anyone that's powering a Starlink off an inverter off your car, as soon as you close your door, the power turns off. And if you open the door again, the power turns on. If you power cycle the Starlink dish, I think it's about 2 or 3 times in a row rapidly, it will go to its default setting of a unprotected Wi-Fi hotspot called Starlink. And then you'll have to go in and reset up your Starlink to the Wi-Fi name that you called it. And you've got to remember what the password was so that you can then reconnect to it the normal way. So by James having the EcoFlow, he's using that as a buffer between the car turning off overnight. Now you can keep the car on overnight, the 12 volts on, but the only way you can do it is in camp mode. Now you can change camp mode so that you can set it so it doesn't have the air conditioner compressor on. It basically just runs the fan. But one consequence of doing that or having camp mode on is you cannot enable Sentry mode, sorry. Can't enable Sentry mode while in camp mode. And the only way you can enable the 12 volt outlet while you're not in the car is by using camp mode. So it's very, very frustrating.
Yeah, so our bed isn't normally rolled up like that. That's just so the oil can sit here because we're dropping that for Kaiguna. Hopefully the first stop overnight will be Cockabiddy. So normally this mattress will be rolled half out. So all we have to do is fold the seats down and roll the other half.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
that is a good setup. Excellent.
That's a very nice setup. I'm impressed. So Cockabiddy is your first.
I hope that's our goal. Last time we made Madura Pass, but with Kaiguna offline again, we'll probably maybe make Kaiguna and Cockabiddy wee bonus.
Right.
If we get to Cockabiddy, we charge off the 15 amp overnight. So the plan was get 100% at Kaiguna because you pay $50 anyway. It'll only take about 30% to get to Kaiguna, to Cockabiddy, charge up overnight, and we should be able to get straight through to straight through to Madura Pass, a small top up of about 25% and then get to Mundrabilla.
I'd skip Madura Pass if you can.
Yeah.
Go straight to Mundrabilla because Madura Pass is now charging $2 a kilowatt, $2 a kilowatt hour.
Yeah, we only need to get about 15 to 20%. Just
you should be able to make Mundrabilla. You're just in your car, right?
Yeah, we can, but that means I have to sit on 110 ish.
Yeah, I'd skip it.
All right.
I'd be planning to skip it.
Yep.
It's also a nice place to be.
It is also a much nicer place to be, but yeah, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, Mundrabilla, we got no choice. You have to stop at Mundrabilla, and that's where the cones comes in to save us a couple hours.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And James, do you have my number?
Yeah, I don't think I do. I've been chatting with Sarah through Facebook.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
Sarah's going to send you my number.
Yep.
And then you obviously got John's number, right?
Yep.
Yep.
John's hopefully going to be there on Friday, the same day we're there, so I can give him a hand if he needs it.
Yeah, okay. My guess is Kaiguna will be okay.
Yep.
The issue that we had with Kaiguna was fairly easy to fix.
Yep.
You need to know what you're doing to diagnose the problem, but it was pretty easy to fix.
Yeah. Oh, John's heading up there on tomorrow, so John will be there himself on Friday morning.
Yep. And last time I spoke to John, he was planning on dropping a 20 kilowatt DC at Cockabiddy.
Oh, fantastic.
So hopefully that. He may not have been able to make it work.
Yeah.
Because logistics and negotiations and all that stuff. But there's very likely going to be a 20 kilowatt drop in at Cockabiddy as well. And Cockabiddy make better food.
Yes, yeah.
Quite frankly.
And are nicer people.
And they are much nicer people, yeah. And you can watch the Eagles. The
Eagles are good there. Yeah.
And weirdly, Cockabiddy and Kaiguna are owned by the same owners.
But the managers make the difference.
The manager makes the difference. That's right.
True. This is true.
And the girls that were at Kaiguna were fantastic last time. Apparently, their visas have expired and they've moved on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. Noah.
She was great.
Yeah, she was fantastic. She was so helpful last time. We arrived late.
She got it extended, but she she's now unfortunately gone.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Gonna say good night, folks.
Yeah, time for us to say good night.
Good night.
Yeah. If you want to Dorothy Dixon to talk about Harold, do you want Dorothy Dixon or do we?
Yeah, go on. Give us a Dorothy Dixon.
My rear tires are scrubbing out on the inside. I do carry a lot in my boot.
Yes. So did you get your tyres changed?
Beg your pardon?
Did you get your tyres changed on?
I did in Devonport by a bunch of my very first experience of Tasmanians in the natural environment was very pleasing. I was very happy. They're my kind of people. We got along very well. And they had a few suggestions about how they might be able to tweak the alignment to sort of even up the wear, because they've dealt with a few dozen Teslas in Devonport, and given the size of Devonport, that's actually pretty good. The experience in Devonport was very different to the experience I had speaking to the tyre people in Geelong, which was my other option. And yeah, so is there another option, Harold?
Yes, so you need to get a camber kit, because unfortunately, in fact, I'm just going to show, it actually is this right here. And this, I don't know what this is called, but it's a whatever control arm. And this, in a Tesla, I can't show you what it looks like because it's in the, oh no, it's actually downstairs. But anyway, there's a part here that Tesla make, which looks more simple than this, that is not adjustable. whereas you can buy from Mountain Pass and any other number of Tesla suspension tuners. You can buy an adjustment kit which will effectively adjust your camber. Your camber. Because if you actually look, particularly on the Model Y, and more particularly a Model Y Performance, because what it is a 1 inch lowered Model Y, and they don't change any of the suspension parts. And when you push down a car's suspension, the camber increases, so it actually splays out the wheels. Sorry, I just realised I haven't got my camera on. It splays out the wheels, so they actually rather than being straight, they splay like this, so that the bottom edge on the inner bottom, so the inner edge, right on the very edge, actually just wears prematurely. The worst thing about this, now Shane's experiencing it in his Model 3, which most Model 3s don't get a lot of this, but if you tow, obviously the weight of the caravan is pushing down, and that's effectively splaying out your tyres again. But on the Ys, it's actually worse, particularly the performance-wise. The most pernicious part of this setup is that most people, if you just have a look at your tyres, you can't actually see the entirety of your tyres. You can see sort of like 3/4 of your tyres. And if you're a little bit more diligent, like I thought I was, I would run my fingers along the deep grooves of the tread, where you can actually feel the little wear, the minimum tread indicators. They're like a little lump in those deep grooves that if your tread basically lines up with that lump and it all becomes sort of continuous, then you know that you're at minimum, and you've got to change your tyres. So I've done that, and I think I've relayed this story quite a while ago where, I did that, got my car back, and I did a tyre rotation, and actually found that on the inners I was down to belts. Now on my first figure 8, which was not towing anything, it was just the car, 100k or a couple 100k south of Alice Springs at 1:45, I had a rapid deflation. It wasn't a disintegration, but it deflated in less than between 1 and 2 seconds. And when I took the tire off, it was past belts. And, I wasn't very happy. So now this is something that's common to performance cars. So the Mercedes AMGs, the BMW M cars, all of those sort of boy racer cars and gentleman racer cars, they all have ridiculously high cambers because it's great for cornering and performance, but it's not great for longevity of your tires. So I cannot recommend these camber kits more. You can absolutely optically see the difference, and I have taken photos. I won't spoil them up because it'll take too long, but basically you can literally see the difference just nakedly looking at the back wheels. And what Shane was alluding to with the wheel alignment people, the tyre people, you can sort of even up the wear and take some of the emphasis off the excessive camber by adding a bit of extra toe in. And it's sort of, even though the tyres are sort of splayed out like that, they sort of like roll, and the way they sort of roll on the ground, it's sort of transferring some of that extra camber because of the extra toe in to more like the center of your tread. It probably means you wear out more rubber, but your tyre will last longer before it hits the belts on the inside. So obviously tested.
In my case, the outside of the tyre looked like a new tyre. The inside looked like it was going to fall apart. It was very, very close to fall apart. And there's a good reason why they do it. And if you're cornering hard, then you get an extra few 100 kilos on the rear of your suspension, and that tilts your tyres around in just the right way to make things go nice and good and square. If you're driving it, like you bought it, but if you own it and you're putting hay bales in the back and trailers on the back and caravans on the back, and you're doing basically work with the sports car, I guess you'd call it, then it's not so suitable.
So here's a photo. This photo was taken at Mundrabilla. It just so happened I had time to kill because Mundrabilla.
Okay, that's worse than what I got to.
That's you got plenty of time. So I had a look and I found this. Now see, you can already see on this, it's not a great photo, but see how all this tread depth here? There's tons and tons of tread on the outside, and the inside it's into the canvas. And these were quite new tires. They'd only done about not even 40,000 kilometers. And
yeah, I'm changing mine at low 30,000s, 30,000 and something.
Yeah.
They weren't that bad, mind you, but they're heading that way. But given the Tasmanian roads, I wanted to make sure I had something underneath me.
Yeah, and it's just devastating to. It's not even so much the money, although the money, they're not cheap. These tires are like $500-$600 each.
You're buying them from the wrong place.
But no, these are the Hankook Ions, so they're expensive tires, and they have a very high tread wear index. They have an index of 600. So I always buy the highest tread wear because I just don't want to waste rubber. I just don't enjoy doing it, and I violently object to binning tires where 3/4 of the tread is perfect and just the very inner edge is wrecked. So hence why a couple of weeks ago I got a camber kit, and touch wood, that will absolutely fix the problem. And that's something you should do too, Shane. And anyone that's got models,
I intend to. That's why it's called a Dorothy Dixer.
Yes.
Exactly. The chappies in Devonport, one, they were very nice, but two, they said they could tweak the instead of tweaking the hang on, how's this going to work? Instead of tweaking the tires that way, which obviously there's no adjustment in the Tesla to do that, they were going to adjust them this way.
That's the toe in, yes. They increased the toe in, so then it effectively rolls the tread and like I said, distributes a little bit more of that scrubbing action to the center.
I don't think it fixes the problem, but it'll make it better, apparently.
Yes. It'll give you a longer life. So, you're going to have to drive those tires another 4,000 Ks. But then as soon as you get home, you can then go and get a camber kit fitted, and that will solve the problem.
Which is quite fortunate, because that's when Bob Jane are going to give me a new free wheel alignment adjustment.
There you go.
So I fit the new, I get home, I fit the new camber kit, I take it back to Bob Jane and say, please align these, and happy days.
Very good. Very good.
But this is only a problem for people that live in WA, drive long straight places. If you lived in Tasmania and drove at 110 kilometres as recommended, you wouldn't have this problem.
Actually, I'll tell you what, without a caravan on these roads at 110 k's an hour, I could have a lot of fun. Sarah would panic a lot, but I would have fun.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just trying to see if I've got a photo. No, I didn't take a photo of the this was day 12 of my one of my laps. It was a figure 8, and that's the side of the road. On the wrong side of the road, mind you, because it's the left, and you can't really see. Oh, it's not going to do it. But basically, this was a deflated tire that had gone past the belts, and had to put any spare on. And it was, I finally fixed it at, I had 1 PSI, and it was 12:30 in the middle of nowhere. So there's Eldunda. It's 83 k's out of Eldunda.
That's not a lap, Harold. If you're going through Eldunda, that's an 8.
Sorry, that's a what?
That's an 8. That's not a lap. That's an 8.
Oh, that was an 8. Yeah, sorry, that was a figure 8 lap. So yeah, do if you've got a performance Model Y and you value your tires, do get a camber kit. Look, unless you want to drive your car on a track or something and you don't care about the tires.
It's all about use case.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right. Well, we're sort of winding towards. Actually, I might let you go, Shane, because you were going to go to bed. Not that I'm your mother or anything.
I've been deserted.
Yes,
I might also head off as well.
The fire's gone out and I've been deserted.
Oh no, you got to keep the home fires burning. Cool. And
hey, has Penny managed to get hold of Harold?
I emailed her a few days ago and haven't heard back.
Okay.
I did say that Harold's keen for talking.
No, she hasn't, but that's her issue. So that's cool. I'll leave it up to her or not. It's totally cool. So next week, Chuck, I won't be hosting Ask Us Anything, but I'll probably see you in person.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm quite looking forward to meeting you, Chuck. You're coming to the Tokwa catch up in Hobart.
Yeah. So I think Harold had left the venue selection to me. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
I've been looking around and I've found a place called Spotty Dog Brewery, which is it's kind of next. It's right next door to Incat, which is where the largest electric vehicle in the country is being built. So very relevant there.
Is it near a caravan park by any chance?
There's not a lot of caravan parks within Hobart itself. You might be a little bit out of Hobart if you look for a caravan park, but there'll be somewhere. There are a couple of places.
We can put our home wherever we like, but we need to get.
That's right. Yeah, there'll be places. Yeah.
Are there any places where there aren't no camping signs?
Yeah, that's right.
Very good. Well, I'll see you in person, Chuck, next Wednesday. I don't know. We could try and jump on and be a rowdy crowd, because it'll be late for us next Wednesday for Pete to try and corral and because it's not recorded, it'll be okay. We can play up a little bit, but that'd be pretty cool. Awesome.
Just gonna drop a link in the chat here. There it is.
Oh,
there we go. Just so you have an idea of where it is.
So we can let everyone know where we're going to be. Oops.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll set up an invite. I'll set up a event on the Toco page and I'll send it around to everyone.
Yeah.
So I'll send it around to you. So you can send it through to your guys and I'll send it to the Toco members in Hobart as well.
No worries. No, that'll be fantastic. And we'll we'll get an Uber or something or whatever. We'll do a milk run or something. Yeah, because we're on holidays, unlike everyone else.
It's about 2 minutes drive from the Tesla showroom, just on the highway there. So,
cool.
Even all drive there and then shuttle to the brewery.
So Shane and Sarah, Shane, we'll also have to do a stakeout of the Tesla showroom with our caravans.
Yep.
Oh boy, they're going to think these strange West Australians. What are they doing? What are they doing? They're weirder than us Tasmanians.
That's right. That's saying something.
The sand gropers certainly are very strange. Very strange. Indeed. Cool.
That's right. But I'll be back on the chat next week just to confirm where everyone is. I think James should be here by then as well, maybe by Wednesday.
Yeah, I think we arrive Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's Wednesday morning we arrive. So Wednesday night we're in Hobart.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And then Thursday night will be the catch up at the brewery.
Very good. And something that I hadn't shown, obviously hadn't shown, was this, which is something that happened a couple of weeks ago, but does deserve some recognition. Is this audacious thing? which is something I am not going to admit that I was watching on a screen in my car while on autopilot on the way to Fitzroy Crossing in the darkness, probably doing about 60 kilometres an hour. But
Now, Harold, it seems Elon watches this. That Starship, the actual Starship, splashed down just off the coast of WA, not far from us. 40 minutes. So next time, do you think you could load up some supercharging, those superchargers on the pallets? 40 minutes delivery from Texas to Perth, middle of nowhere.
You're not the only one that's thought this. Just let it here. That's an even better idea, though.
We'll even level out a landing zone for you.
And we can
imagine how good that
would be when there's no sun. The reserve methane should run it for enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And the remarkable thing was that the Starship itself landed within a few centimetres of where it was supposed to be in the Indian Ocean after travelling halfway around the world, which is just remarkable, even though one of its flaps was half burned through again, and yet it still landed absolutely precisely. But I mean, that to achieve such a thing on the first attempt, to effectively catch a 30-story building is just mind-blowing in every respect. And I'm sure that all of us that saw it live were just losing our stuff. It was just...
It looked so wrong because at the last minute it just looked like it crashed into the tower.
Yes.
And he's done and they thought, oh no. And then it was there. You thought, I can't believe I just watched that.
What's amazing is if you watch the AI video that they rendered beforehand, and you watch the actual live footage, it's almost identical. So it landed exactly the way they showed it would land on the AI video.
It's just nuts. It's just absolute.
And of course, in all the comments on the mainstream news sites, they're all saying, "Oh, it's just the launch footage reversed" or something like that. And yesterday, Everyday Astronaut put up a video of the landing reversed, so it would look like what the launch would look like if it was reversed. And it's quite funny seeing, the flames all being sucked into the rocket, and then it flies up in the air when the engines aren't going and things. Yeah. It is quite funny.
Yeah, that's right. Because
what's amazing is that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I was just saying it's amazing how valuable the data must be that they're collecting. I mean, just to know, because NASA doesn't work like this, for them to know that they can still land the Starship within centimetres of its intended target with one of its flaps burned through, I mean, that is just invaluable data. It's just a different way that the different model that they use, and they're not afraid of making mistakes. And obviously during testing with no humans on board, rather than trying to model all this out on a computer, they just fire the rocket and see what happens and collect the data.
Yeah, exactly. And just to relive it, this is actually the proper footage that we all saw live. So the one where you see it sort of from the tower's point of view, well, it looked easy because you could just see it sliding down. But this is actually the live stream that we all watched and we obviously thought it was going to hit the tower. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, let me just put the sound on.
13 engines. We're now down to 3 Raptor engines. We can see those chopsticks now in the air.
Nicodilla has popped the booster.
I mean, anyone that didn't lose their stuff just watching that has just got no emotions. It was an amazing thing.
But it's so controlled that the landing, the last bit was so, it hovered. It wasn't like it crashed in. It hovered and then settle down.
I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this conversation. I'm going to head off to bed. But just before I do, I'm going to say it looks a lot like me reversing a caravan. Sorry, I had to do it. Not up, folks.
All right. I'll see you next week, Shane.
Yes, I will. And Chuck, flick us a message or something, so I've got your actual number and I can contact you.
Yep, will do.
All right. Cheers, mate.
Cool.
See you, folks.
All
and
righty.
I'll see the rest of you back in Perth.
Yeah, all the lazy people. All righty.
Hey, this got called lazy.
I actually came here and said that. So I came all the way back here just to say that to you in person, Pete. It's all good. In the last 10 minutes of the show, we got any last questions or comments before we wrap this awesome show up? Oh, apart from the fact that we've got the earnings call only in a few more hours. It's 5:30 WA time tomorrow morning, or 8:30 Chuck time. But then Chuck might want to sleep in. But no, you got to go to work, Chuck. I know it's a pain to have to work.
Public holiday in Hobart tomorrow.
Oh, very good. Oh, well, there you go. You can fantastic.
But not in Northern Tasmania. So I should have told Shane and Sarah that, but that's all right.
Oh, right. So it's only a Hobart. Wow.
It's a half. Wow. Yeah, it's a half state holiday.
Oh, cool.
Launceston had theirs 2 weeks ago. We have ours this Thursday.
Oh, I thought it was in celebration of the fact that Ask Us Anything would make everyone stay up later, and you'd need to sleep.
Right.
So that's
Special
why they
request.
Have. Absolutely.
We are having former Premier Peter Gutwin speaking at the expo, but that's not related to this. We don't have that much influence, unfortunately.
Very good. Very good.
All righty. Not the expo.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Any last questions or comments, or we might just wrap this thing up? Oh, I think we're pretty done. All right. So let me just set myself up here for a graceful exit. Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this as if we didn't already know?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, keep doing laps around Australia, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Next week, obviously, Pete will be the host of the show, and myself, Shane, and we'll probably jump on just to make a bit of mischief. And in any case, we'd certainly look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time for the next recorded Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
See you guys.
All right, have fun.